Being a great manager is the ultimate goal, especially if you have just been promoted or you're looking to step into management sometime soon in your career. It is something that we all aspire to because we want people to trust us and respect us, and we want people to follow us and to love how we lead them. And it can often feel like such a hard task. How do we get it right? There's so many things that I should and shouldn't do. And we're also carrying all of our own experiences from the past, which can impact the way that we show up today. But in this episode, I want to share 3 simple steps on how you can be a great new manager, how you can step up and start leading in a way that people start to build that trust and respect so that you can get results, drive performance, and land big opportunities. Hey, I'm Tash, Pieterse, certified people leadership coach, and I'm here to help you be a leader that people actually want to follow. So let's dive into the episode. The reason why I'm talking about this episode in particular is because this is one of the biggest reasons why people come into my VIP Leaders Leadership Development Program, because they want to be great leaders. They've either just stepped up into a management role or they are wanting to get into a management role sometime in the next few months, maybe in the next few years, and they want to start building those foundations right now. What also tends to happen is that new managers who come to work with me, they've been put into these jobs with little to no training or support. They maybe have a great leader themselves, but they're super busy, or they are fortunate to have some great leaders in their corner who knows how important it is to invest in their skill growth and their development. So they come and do the training. But I want to share with you 3 steps on how you can be a great manager right now. And of course, if you want to go deeper into your skill development and your growth, then join VIP Leaders, my leadership development program. The registration is currently open for us to start early June. So if this is you, go down into the show notes, click on the link and find out more, or reach out to me and I'm happy to answer any questions. And so what I'm going to cover today is I'm going to share why being a new manager is quite tricky, why this just feels so hard sometimes, the 3 steps to being a great new manager, how you can start doing it right now, and then some mindset reminders because I always love finishing off with those. So what makes new management tricky? Often you're stepping up from within a team. And so the dynamic fundamentally changes. You're no longer a peer. You're now stepping into this management position where people are looking to you, and that relationship and that camaraderie shifts dramatically because now you're part of the management team. You're no longer besties with your teammates and chatting and doing all of the normal stuff. And that can feel really uncomfortable. You might also not have the opportunity to get adequate training and support to really step up really intentionally and to do it well. And so that can also make it really tricky. And then also just learning how to balance the line between managing the team and doing the work. Because if you are a new manager, you are likely still doing a lot of hands-on work within your team, and that can be totally normal, just depending on the structure of your company, the size of your company, and the size of your team. So those can be some reasons why stepping up as a new manager can be really tricky. And often you might be Googling how to manage people at 11 o'clock or scrambling, floundering, trying to figure things out. And I want to just really make it really simple and easy for you. So what are the 3 steps to being a great manager? Step number 1, start with your team. Get to know your team. Honestly, everything starts here. If you spend the time up front getting to know the people on your team, getting to know who they are as individuals, what they care about, what their strengths are, what their ambitions are, so what are their goals, their growth plans, you spend the time learning how to do that, you are going to be starting from up here. You're going to be starting at 60, 70, 80%, because when people feel like they are seen, they feel like they're heard, they feel like they're understood, they are far more willing to follow. They're far more willing to buy into and lean into what is expected of them, what is needed of them from you as the manager or from the business. If you spend the time upfront getting to know your team, getting to know your people, you are going to set yourself up for things becoming so much easier. And I've got my one-on-one playbook, which you can use, which gives you power questions. It gives you a structure on how you can articulate these conversations so that you can get to know your people. You can shift just casual check-ins about work into really meaningful conversations. So I'll pop the link to the one-on-one playbook in the show notes so you can grab that. But fundamentally, what you want to do is you want to build a really solid relationship with every single person on your team. This doesn't mean that you have to get to know everything about them and their personal life and everything like that. It's just getting to know who they are as a person, in alignment with what they are willing to share with you. Now, what I will say here is that everyone on your team is going to be willing to share and talk about things at a different level because of their own experiences. So, just like you have all of your experiences from your past jobs, from your past managers, so does everyone in your team. They are going to have their own experiences that they're carrying, whether they've had great bosses in the past, whether they've had shit bosses in the past, that is going to impact the way that they show up with you now. Despite that, despite where they might be, how willing they are to share and talk about things, you can still create the space. The open moment is what I call them. You can create an open moment for them to want to step into that, to be willing to share information so that you can build a solid relationship with them now. And this relationship is also really important because it's going to become your foundation to be able to influence. And this is something that we talk about really deeply in the VIP Leaders Leadership Program, because being able to influence the people around you, especially your team, is such a critical skill, because it means that you'll be able to leverage them to get things done, to get buy-in on decisions and things like that. But that has to start from having a relationship. And the more that you spend getting to know your team, getting to know who they are, their strengths, their goals, their ambitions, their challenges, what's really challenging for them, what are they worried about, the better you're going to be able to adapt your leadership style and the way that you lead to that person. Now, one of the things that is really important is that we recognize that people prefer to be led in different ways. Not everyone likes to be led the same way. Not everyone likes to be managed the same way. So if we can learn about our people, learn who they are and how they like to be led, then you're going to be able to adapt your style best to support them. And you can also use the setup conversation questions. I shared these, the 5 most important questions to ask your team. I did a podcast episode on this, so I'll link that in the show notes as well. And they are great questions that you can also ask as the setup conversation to building that relationship up front. So that is the first simple step to becoming a great manager, is start with your team, get to know your team, get to know who they are as individuals, and that will pay off so much. The second step to being a great new manager is learn the work. You've gotten to know your people, you spend time getting to know them and learning about them. Now get to know the work. This might seem like a really simple one. Oh, this is so obvious, Tash. Yes, it is super obvious, but how often do we overlook the obvious things? How often do we overlook the things that we need to be doing, but we think that it's so obvious that it just slips by the wayside? Why I talk about learning the work is this is about understanding the goals. What is the goal of the team? What are the objectives that the team is required to deliver? What is expected of the team in terms of connecting to the overarching company's goals and vision and mission? When you are clear about those things and you know how to connect the company's vision, the company's objectives with your team goals, and you're able to articulate that really well, you're then going to be able to bring your people on the journey to deliver those results. Something that I see very often is new managers are trying really hard to make sure things get done, and like they're controlling and managing their people and the tasks and the workload. But sometimes they're missing the gap between what is it that we're actually meant to be delivering and how does that connect to the overarching goal. The reason why this is important is because when you know how to articulate that well, you can explain it to your team. You can share with them why this matters. Why do we need to work on this? Why do we need to focus on this? Why is this important? And the more that we can articulate that, the more people are willing to do the work. When people don't understand how things fit together, when people don't understand why things are important, they're less likely to want to do anything. And that is not where we want to be as leaders. We want to create an environment, we want to create the conditions for people to do great work. But that means that you need to know the work. You need to know the work of the team. So, what is the current workload of the team? You need to know the goals that are required for the team to meet. You need to know the company objectives. How does the team goals fit to those objectives? And you need to know what your workload is amongst all of that too. How does it all fit together? The more that you can do that, the better you're going to be able to do with the way that you manage your workload, you manage your team's workload, and you make sure that you get the best results from your team. So, learning the work. This will also help with setting expectations. So, one of the things that's really important is making sure that the expectations are really clear about what your team need to deliver. And in order to do that, you need to know the work. You need to know what is required of people and what they need to be doing and why. So learning the work is step number 2 to being a great new manager. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that VIP Leaders, my leadership development program, is currently open for enrollment. VIP Leaders is my signature program that helps you strengthen your leadership identity, build trusted influence, and level up your emotional intelligence to become a leader people actually want to follow. The next round is starting very soon in June 2025. So if you are interested in leveling up your leadership skills, giving you everything that you need to be a leader people actually want to follow, head down into the show notes and click VIP Leaders to find out more. And if you've got questions, reach out and let me know. All right, let's head back to the episode. And number 3. Step number 3 is learning how to have hard conversations. This is one of the biggest skill sets and the most important skill sets that you need to work on as a new manager. And this is often one of the ones that's not a high priority, which means that when you step up into managing people, you're avoiding tough conversations because you want to be liked. You don't want people to be upset with you. You don't want to upset people. You don't want people to think that you're not a nice person. And so we avoid these conversations. We avoid doing these things because we are worried about what people are going to think. But the thing is that having difficult conversations is fundamentally the most important thing that you need to do as a manager and as a leader. And it's uncomfortable and it's hard. That's why they're called tough conversations. But they will make everything in the long run easier if you focus on doing these things in the moment, if you focus on doing these things in the short term. It will make how you manage your people and anything that comes up so much easier to deal with. Tough conversations might be setting expectations, giving constructive feedback, or addressing things that aren't working properly or that aren't going as expected. These all fall under having tough conversations, and they're absolutely critical. Because if you solve them in the short term, if you solve them as small issues, they won't become big problems, which means that they won't become really tough things to deal with later on. There's a whole framework that goes with this. There's a whole framework on learning how to address these conversations, learning about who you are and how you show up in these conversations, and be able to move forward from these conversations as well. And this is something that we work through specifically in VIP Leaders. There's a whole module on having courageous conversations that tie in with setting expectations and giving feedback. So if you want to know more about how to do that, come and join the program because it's going to give you everything you need. And these tough conversations aren't just for at work. These tough conversations are for any relationship that you have in your life because we are needing to set expectations, set boundaries, give feedback, do all of these things in any relationship dynamic that we have in our life, whether that's with our partners, our friends, our family. We need to know the skill set. And fundamentally, tough conversations is not about being liked. Having tough conversations is going to make your life so much easier. It's going to be hard and uncomfortable in the short term, but it's going to make life so much easier in the long term. And that is what you need to stay focused on. You may not feel like your team like you in the moment when you do these things, but it is going to build respect. People respect people who do hard things. People respect people who say what is necessary, even when they might not want to hear it. And this is not about being rude or being mean. It's about caring personally about someone and being willing to challenge them directly. It's about knowing I care about you, which is why I'm going to share this information with you. It's why I'm going to give you this feedback, even though it might be uncomfortable, because I care about you and your growth. And it's up to them what they do with it. It's up to them what they choose to do and how they choose to feel about that. We can't control that. But we need to be the ones that are willing to have those conversations in the first place. So that is step number 3, learning to have tough conversations. If you can do these 3 things, honestly, it'll make your transition to being a great manager so much easier. It'll set you up so well to do it. So the first one is start with your team, get to know them and who they are. The second one is learn the work. Understand where your team fits within the structure of the business. What are the overarching business goals? What are the team goals? How do they fit together? And how do you articulate that with the team? And then how does the team's workload fit with those goals? And then number 3, learn to have tough conversations, because the more tough conversations that you have, the more respect, trust, and ownership you build within your team. Honestly, promise you that. And here are some mindset reminders that I just want to finish with. To be a great leader, to be a great manager, you need to be willing to learn. You need to be willing to invest in learning these skills, practicing these things so that you can get better at them, so that you can build the skill set in a way that people recognize, hey, they're really good at this. And then they'll want to learn from you. Be willing to practice, be willing to get it wrong, and be willing to keep going. Be willing to learn and invest in developing the skill set, because that is what's going to make you great. I promise you that. And the second mindset reminder is you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get it wrong. You're going to have some missteps. You're going to fumble, but that is part of the process. Let it happen, course correct, get the learning, and then try again and do it again. The more that you do it, the easier it becomes and the better you get at it. Honestly, that's just the truth. You're going to get it wrong, but that can't be a reason why you don't do it at all. You just need to be willing to do it. All right. That is my 3 simple steps to being a great new manager. Promise you, if you practice these things and if you invest in developing your skill set and developing your strengths in this area, you are going to be an amazing manager that people love following. And as I mentioned, VIP Leaders is currently open for enrollment. So if you want to get early bird pricing plus the fast action bonus of a one-on-one coaching call, make sure you enroll right now. We start at the beginning of June and the registration period is super short this time. So make sure you get your spot. I'd love to see you in there, and I will be back in your ears again next week. Hey, that's all from me today. Thank you so much for listening to Lead With Less. It means the world to me if you could take a moment to leave a rating and a review on Apple, or just rate with 5 stars on Spotify. It means a lot to the growth and the expansion of the podcast. And if you know any other people leaders who could do with a dose of inspiration to level up their leadership skills, then please forward on this podcast to them. I would really appreciate it. And as always, if you have any feedback or have any thoughts, please message me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or email. I'd love to hear from you.